Good morning. Great. All right. So, my name is Ronderick Jeffrey Curtis, but since that's very long to say, we'll just shorten it to RJ. I go to Pepin Academy, Pasco. I am 19 and I am a rising senior. So, I'm going to talk about adoption and foster care, the foster care system. So, there are approximately 130,000 foster children eligible and waiting to be adopted in the United States. Although there are many families that have adopted children from other countries, the number of U.S. adoptions has remained constant over the past 3 years. This may be due to the misperceptions that surround the adoption process and subject. In this speech, I will discuss how the foster care system works, the common reason why families are hesitant to pursue foster care adoption, and reasons a family should consider adopting a foster child in the U.S. Foster care is a system in which a minor has been placed into a group home, private home, or state-certified caregiver referred as a foster parent. The placement of the child is normally arranged through a government or society service. Children and youth are removed from their homes by no fault of their own due to abuse, abandonment, and/or neglect. There are currently over 450,000 children in the foster care system in the United States. The average age of a child waiting to be adopted is 7.7 years old, and 29% of these children will spend at least 3 years in foster care. Every year, at least 20,000 youth age out of the system without a family and without the skills to make it on their own. This means that the state has failed to reunite these youth with their families or place them in a permanent home. Listen as I share some troubling statistics about kids who age out of foster care, according to the Adoption and Foster Care Analyst and Reporting System data. Only 30% of youth who grow up in foster care graduate from high school. 2.5% will graduate from a 4-year college. 1 out of 5 will experience homelessness within the first year of aging out of the system. 50% will be unemployed after leaving the foster care system. Males are 4 times as likely to commit a crime, and females are 10 times as likely to commit a crime after out of the system. Former foster youth are 5 times as likely to develop PTSD, nearly double the rate of a U.S. soldier returning from war. Based on a survey conducted by the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, there are many public misperceptions when it comes to adopting a child from foster care. Some of the most common are 47% consider adoption are current that the biological parents will be able to take the child back. This is simply not true. Once a child has legally been available for adoption, the birth parent cannot claim a child or petition for his or her return. More than 50% of Americans surveyed believe children and youth in foster care have entered the system because of juvenile delinquency. This is not all true. Children enter the system through no fault of their own, but as victims in abuse, abandonment, or neglect. 39% of Americans think that foster care adoption is expensive. The truth is, foster care and adoption is inexpensive and often at no cost to adoptive parents. There is often financial support available for the state for those who choose to pursue this path. Only 38% of Americans believe a single parent can adopt a child from foster care. 1/3 of children adopted from foster care are adopted by single parents or unmarried couples. I've mentioned aging out of the system a few times in this speech. Do you know what that means? It means that an 18-year-old, a youth, is suddenly considered to be an adult, and the state is no longer responsible for their well-being. They are turned out into the world on their own to fend for themselves. Think about when you were 18 years old. Did you do anything on your own? Or did you have a family and support system to lean on, to guide you, to give you advice? Had I aged out at 18 years old, I would have only been 2 months into my sophomore year of high school. I cringe to think of how my life would be today if I had to face things on my own before I even had a chance to finish high school. Every year in the United States, more than 20,000 youth age out of the foster care system. To me, this is the most troubling statistic of all. Thankfully, aging out of foster care is not part of my personal story. I am an incoming senior at a charter school that caters to kids with learning disabilities. I have a 3.4 grade point average and am working towards choosing a college to attend. I also started my first job this summer at a UPS store. I believe that foster care adoption is a topic that should be a national discussion. There are approximately 1.3 million families who want to adopt in the United States. If they were better educated on this option to adopt from foster care, I believe we would see more children and youth being adopted before aging out of the system. It is important that the misperceptions be addressed and corrected. My personal story could have been very different today. I was adopted on my bio 15th birthday. I spent my entire life before that, 5,475 days in foster care, moving 12 different times. When I met my mom, statistically I only had a 4% chance of being adopted based on my age, race, and length of time in the system. I was small and very shy and had trouble maintaining eye contact. When speaking with someone, I had never been to one school an entire school year, so my learning disabilities were never properly addressed. Had I not been adopted, I would have aged out of the system 3 months into my sophomore year of high school. I was told often that I had to prepare to age out of the system, but I never gave up hope. In school, I'm part of the high school high-tech and musical theater program. I've had a chance to play on a baseball team and get my driver's license. Very common for kids my age, but not for kids in foster care. I volunteer with the Art Gallery, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and the United Way. My future will be very different because I have a family for unconditional love and support. I am determined to work hard to shatter the misperceptions of what it means to adopt a teenager from foster care. It is my goal to use my voice, my personal experience, to make sure that the children and youth in foster care never give up hope that they will find their forever family. I will work hard to educate the public on the reality of what adopting an older child looks like. I will commit to becoming a mentor to kids who age out of the system to make sure that they know they are not bound by statistics. If I had believed the statistics placed by my name, I would have given up. I will graduate from high school. I will attend college. I will not allow myself to enter the juvenile justice system, and I will not find myself in homelessness. I will continue to advocate for all children and youth in foster care, and those who age out of the system. Every child needs and deserves a home. Thank you for allowing me to share some statistics on the foster care system, as well as my own personal experience. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have today.